Every day in the UK, around 1.5 million people work around forklift trucks. And although safety procedures have improved over the last decade, there are still thousands of accidents every year, resulting in serious injury and even death. In most cases, it's not actually the forklift truck driver who is harmed, but those people working in the vicinity of forklift operations. With hundreds of forklifts in daily use in the northeast of Scotland, we are as vulnerable as the rest of the country to forklift-related incidents and injuries. But we can reduce that vulnerability by observing recognised techniques, industry best practice, and key safety control measures. Here's a story about how a lorry driver came to harm when safety controls were not observed. The first control comes into force when a lorry driver arrives at the site. The lorry driver may have visited the site before and is familiar with the personnel, but everyone must observe the site rules. They are there to protect all. But this time, like many times before, the entry barrier wasn't down and the driver was allowed to just drive straight through. A second control measure concerns the forklift driver. He is fully trained, competent, and authorised to drive the forklift, but he still has to observe the correct procedures. On this site, the rules state that a second pair of eyes should be present to assist with all lifts. But this time, he didn't observe the rules and carried on with the lift. A third control measure is simple, but the most important of all. It's called a safe zone for a reason, because this is the identified area where people are safe from harm. But in this instance, the lorry driver chose to ignore the control measure and left the safe zone and re-entered the zone of operational activity. Now let's see the incident again, with the safety controls in place and observed. On arrival at this site, the driver reports to the gatehouse with details of the load. Gatehouse staff then log the arrival and inform the area supervisor. The driver is given a formal induction and a copy of the site rules, which include the use of PPE and the locations of safe zones. The lorry moves to the unloading area and parks. After preparing his load, the driver walks to the safe zone. He plays no further part in the unloading operation. The forklift driver arranges for a second pair of eyes to supervise the loading job, observing the site rules. He checks the area is clear of people before the lift commences. Now, the third control measure. It is the most important of all. Anyone required to remain in the safe zone must stay there until instructed otherwise. Incidents can occur even when all the rules are observed. But whatever damage happened to the equipment, by staying in the safe zone, the lorry driver ensured that he was out of harm's way. This is based on a real incident. The lorry driver involved will never work again. Why would a lorry driver enter an area which was not safe? Can you think of a control measure on your work site that has lost value over time? How comfortable would you feel to stop a potentially unsafe act on your work site? How are you playing your part to improve the safety of lifting operations? Play your part.